The idea that America is in decline might just be the biggest illusion of the century. Have you noticed that the internet nowadays is filled with claims like America is weakening, America is on its last legs, or America is about to collapse? Seeing these statements, you might almost think that America will vanish overnight. The reason more people are convinced America is collapsing is actually because China's rapid development has created a kind of survivor's bias among Chinese people. To clarify, today's goal isn't to blindly praise America, but rather to objectively examine America's strength from three major aspects. After looking at the facts, you might find that in the next 30 years, America will remain an unshakable giant. Underestimating America strategically today could be a major mistake. So how should people objectively view America's current power? Actually, the method is simple. Remove China from the equation and things become clear immediately. First, economically, without considering China, America's strength is unimaginably strong. Official data shows that in 2023, the global GDP reached 105.44 trillion USD, of which the US accounted for 27.36 trillion USD, excluding China's 17.79 trillion USD. America's GDP alone accounts for one-third of the global economy, significantly surpassing the combined GDP of Japan, Germany, France, and the other top 10 economies, and even matching the total of all 45 European countries. Yet America only has about 5% of the global population. Moreover, the major shareholders behind the conglomerates and companies in developed regions like Europe, Japan, and South Korea are largely American. If actual control is accounted for, America's true economic strength could be much higher than official figures. Without China in the rankings, America would dominate the global economy in an absolute sense. If there are doubts, look at the global GDP rankings and historical Olympic medal counts. Apart from China, the rest are essentially still the powers that invaded China over a century ago, led by America. Clearly, the global economic order is still firmly controlled by the group led by America. The emergence of China has merely shaken up the structure. According to statistics, China's GDP was only 1.89 trillion RMB in 1990, but by 2023 it surged to 126 trillion RMB, increasing over 66 times in just over 3 decades, severely challenging the Western dominance, which is exactly why China has become their primary target. The military situation reflects a similar pattern. In 2023, global military spending reached 2.44 trillion USD, with America's defense budget alone at 916 billion USD. Excluding China's 296 billion USD, America accounts for 42.7% of the world's total military expenditure, nearly half of global spending. To put it simply, America's defense budget surpasses the combined budgets of the next 10 countries. Even Russia, often praised as a powerful military nation, has only about 1/9 of America's military expenditure. Some might argue American military spending is inflated, with reports of outrageous expenses like a bag of screws costing 90,000 US dollars or a cup of coffee priced at over 1,000 US dollars. While these stories may be true, it doesn't diminish the fact of America's military power. The total tonnage of the U.S. Navy currently stands at about 5.576 million tons, with 11 aircraft carriers. Military enthusiasts understand that over 95% of the world's countries can't handle even a single U.S. aircraft carrier battle group, yet America possesses 11 of them, each at around 100,000 tons displacement, unmatched globally. While Britain and France also have aircraft carriers, they're typically around 70,000 tons. Initially, America set up 6 naval fleets to intervene wherever conflicts arose globally because they had overwhelming strength. Yet precisely because the U.S. once had such unmatched military dominance, they've grown increasingly anxious seeing China's military rise. Back in 2001, the Chinese Navy had only 320,000 tons of total displacement, not even comparable to America's fraction. At that time, China was often humiliated by Japan and Europe, with Japan even threatening China about the Taiwan issue. Fortunately, China learned from this humiliation and decisively boosted its naval construction. By 2010, China's naval displacement exceeded 500,000 tons, silencing Japan, though the US and Europe still challenged China in the South China Sea. During subsequent confrontations, China demonstrated its resolve and eventually deterred the US. By 2019, China's naval tonnage reached 2 million tons, silencing Europe as well. In 2023, China reached 2.9 million tons, finally making America wary. Imagine if China still had the military strength of 2001. The American Navy's 5.576 million tons would seem overwhelming. Regarding technology, Yi Gongshi, a renowned scientist from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, candidly stated that America's scientific power remains strong beyond imagination, not declining at all, and is likely to lead global development for decades. Most people agree with his view. America remains the strongest technological nation, with no rivals. Since World War II, the U.S. has consistently housed the most top-tier universities and research institutions, whose achievements have continually shaped and led global developments in fields like computing, biotechnology, aerospace, nuclear, and energy technologies. Additionally, the U.S. hosts the most top-level tech companies globally, including Google, Microsoft, Qualcomm, Apple, and Amazon. If China were excluded, these companies would already dominate the global market completely. For context, over the past 5 years, the number of Nobel Prizes in science won by America far exceeds all other countries combined, a trend continuing since the mid-20th century. Given this, do you still think America could easily collapse? This year alone, America plans to spend over $1 trillion USD on technology research, surpassing even its military expenditure, because America understands that maintaining technological dominance ensures continued economic and military supremacy. However, America's greatest headache appeared again with China's rise, seriously challenging its hegemony. Official statistics show China's research budget this year reached 3.3 trillion RMB, nearly half that of America's. Despite Western-led blockades on critical technologies like engines, chips, large aircraft, shipbuilding, and lithography, China continues making breakthroughs. Without China's determined pursuit, America wouldn't need to wage economic or technological wars. A simple blockade would send other countries back to the Stone Age. America remains a formidable giant to nearly every other country, impossible to shake. The perception of America's decline arises because many sectors America once dominated have been overtaken by China, creating the illusion that America is collapsing. A mysterious force from the East is quietly awakening, driving an unprecedented global transformation unseen in a century. So is America truly weakening or collapsing? No, the truth is China is simply getting stronger.